This is Tim Wilson here from Barclay Pearce Capital. I'm talking with the Managing Director and Founder of Locksley Resources. Steve, thanks for joining me. We're just going to look into a few of the things to highlight Locksley Resources and why it's an appropriate company for investors that are looking for exposure to copper. So Locksley, Steve, I think you can tell me, has been around for a short time, but it was created for one purpose, and that was copper. Do you want to talk about the background of Locksley and a little bit more about the Tottenham project, which is Locksley's flagship asset?
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, look, Locksley was incorporated in 2018 for the purpose of acquiring and developing copper and gold projects in the Locksley Fold Belt of New South Wales. The Tottenham project was identified as being a project that had quite a significant amount of money spent on it over the years by a company called Mineral Resources, a successful nickel mining company in WA, working out of Kambalda. This project represented a non-core asset for that company. We subsequently dealt the project into Locksley by the issue of some shares to Mincor. We view the project as potentially a copper mining project with a previous historic resource of around 7 million tonnes at over 1% copper. So we're very lucky to have the project, and it'll be our main focus, and it is the only project within the company.
Well, that's good, Steve. Thanks for that. So, look, you're in the Locksley Fold Belt. While you say it is a one-project company, there are many other competitors around, and also within Locksley, there are quite a few tenements and targets. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so outside of the resource itself, or exploration target is what we refer to it as, there are a number of exploration targets, mainly magnetic features that had not been followed up by previous explorers. The Cobar region itself is a prolific producer of copper with a number of producing mines and a number of very large companies operating in the area. A good example of some operating assets nearby is in the Cobar region. Glencore own a mine called the CSA copper mine at Cobar. It would be the highest grade project in Australia. It's produced over 1 million tonnes of copper metal at above 4% copper. It has a current resource of around 50 million tonnes at 4%. That's the Glencore project. There's also the Triton project, which is just north of Tottenham, owned by Eris. This project has a resource of over 50 million tonnes at 2%. There's another project owned by Aurelia at Nymagee, which will be over 8 million tonnes at 1%. So it's a prolific region, and our project sits within that geological area, and with our current resource, it represents a very strong case for mining into the future.
Right. So what are the sort of 6 to 12 month targets or milestones we can expect out of Locksley post-listing today?
Yeah, priority number one is to move that exploration target into a 2012 JORC compliant resource, which we believe will complete before the end of the year. As part of that process, we'll be doing a complete review of the Mincor database, a systematic review of all the geophysics. As part of that work, obviously the drill rig will keep moving along through the project until the end of the year. So the drill rig should be on site within 2 weeks. The 2012 JORC compliant resource really needs to be defined into both oxide and sulfide. That's the main amount of work, is really categorising the resource into oxide and sulfide. So that's our main priority, and on the sideline we'll be following up some of those exploration targets that I mentioned before.
Steve, that all sounds good. From the historical drilling, are there any intercepts that stand out which you do more following up drilling with, and anything else outside of the main area of prospectivity that tickle your fancy?
Yeah, look, a couple of the better intercepts within the resource of Carolina stand at 20 metres at 2.1% copper and about 0.5% gold. There's 9 metres at 2.5% copper. There's 4.2 metres at nearly 6% copper. So there's quite a few high-grade zones within that Carolina target. And then outside of the known resource, some of the better undrilled targets. Probably the best one of those would be the Bogan River prospect, with a very limited amount of drilling. Probably the best intercept in there would be 23 metres at over 3% copper. So there's plenty of upside on this tenement outside of the resource itself.
Well, that's fantastic. Seems like a good couple of months for Locksley. Just really quickly, Steve, do you have any views on the thematic and price of copper and where it might be heading?
Tim, I have a very positive view on the copper price moving forward. I think the overwhelming demand in the near term far outweighs the limited supply. There's not a huge amount of large copper mines being developed at present. Yeah, the renewable sector's going to drive the copper price from here on. Currently, the copper price stands at about 12,000 Australian per tonne, which is close to double over the last few years for what we've seen. So, yeah, look, I've got a very positive approach.
Yeah, plenty of room there for it to move up with the whole renewable industry moving forward. Mate, finally, look, you've got a lot on your plate with Locksley. I think you've got a board and management team that should be capable to do all this. Do you want to just give me a quick background on yourself and head mining engineer or operations guys?
So I have over 30 years' experience of working in the Lachlan Fold Belt on a number of different projects. We've had quite a bit of success over the years in discovery in both copper and gold. We have an exploration team here in Orange led by Ian Cooper, our operations manager, who is a geologist and engineer. He's got over 40 years' experience in exploration in the region, including working with the Cadia deposit owned by Newcrest. So we have enough experience within the group to do this project justice.
Fantastic. Steve, thanks for your time. And Barclay Pearce is very much looking forward to supporting you over the next, hopefully, long period.
Thanks, Tim.